All right, shalom, shalom. This is Brother Kasha Kwala from the GMS Atlanta Church, coming back at you with another lesson, giving all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachak double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, love, salutation to the elect 144 first fruit. This lesson is going to be about what you see on the screen right now, the government shutdown. Now, we understand in 2018 there were two government shutdowns, okay? There were two of them. All right, and one is in the midst, or we're in the midst of one right now, or not we, but, well, yes, because we're living in this, but the Americans are in the midst of this government shutdown. But as you can see from this article, this lady right here, this Edomite, she is the new Speaker of the House. Her name is Nancy Pelosi, or something like that, Pelosi, something like that. But she has been really making moves in the Democratic House, okay? And I'm gonna read a few things right here. This is from the Washington Post, and this came out today, all right, not too long ago, okay? So literally about 15 minutes ago. It says as House Democrats begin attack, cracks appear in GOP opposition. Okay, so we understand the reason. One of the biggest reasons for the government shutdown is at least what they tell us, is due to the money being pumped in to create the wall that Trump wants. And I'm gonna do a lesson later on about that, because there is actually there's one reason being Trump wants to make that wall, because America be losing money to them immigrants. But I'm gonna do a lesson on that, Lord willing. It says without further ado, here's the article. It says it's by Erica Warner, Damian Paletta, and Soon Min Kim, January 3rd. It says the newly Democratic-controlled House on Thursday passed legislation that would reopen the federal government without paying for President Trump's border wall. All right, drawing a swift veto threat from the White House and leaving the partial shutdown no closer to getting resolved. All right, it says Democrats voted to pass a measure that would provide stopgap funding from the Department of Homeland Security, reopening the department, but denying President Trump more than $5 billion he's demanding for a wall along the U.S.-Mexican border. That's right. So around that Texas, New Mexico area, that border, okay? It says the Democrats then passed another set of bills that would reopen the federal agencies that have been closed since the partial shutdown began in December 2022, all right, or 22nd. Okay, so this right here is a clear indication of what Satan against Satan. And that's what I'm going to get. This lesson is going to be fairly quick. Okay, I'm going to get it in Mark, I think it's chapter 6. Bear with me. Let's see. Yeah, Mark 3 and 26. Salakia. So this is Mark 3 and 26. It says, if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end. Correct. So it says, if Satan rise up against himself, and this is Satan rising up against himself, or what? This is the spiritual demon Satan using the so-called white man's vessel to what? Turn against himself. That's all. Satan is doing his job, okay? Because he's getting these orders from Yahweh Shai. Because at the end of the day, this is the Lord's algorithm, his plan, his blueprint, all right? So Satan is doing what he's supposed to do with making the so-called self-proclaimed white man turn against himself. And this includes their Edomite women. Because you can see Nancy right here with that nasty little cheese, and that looks terrible. But she is the Speaker of the House, which they're turning against what President Trump wants to do and pumping $5 million or $5 billion into that wall. Okay? It says, and if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, let's get that word divided for edification's sake. All right? The word divided in the Greek is marizo, and it means to divide, separate into parts. That's right. Even the government in itself is separated into parts. You got the Democrats, then you got the Republicans, then you got the Independents, whatever you want to call yourselves. Okay? It's divided. You got the executive branch, legislation branch, and the congressional. What's that? I think it's the judicial branch. Okay? I think the legislative branch is congressional. But you have that it's separated into separate parts. For a certain bill to go through, it has to go through the Congress, then it has to pass through judicial, and then it has to pass through the executive, and either it can be vetoed or signed off on, whatever. It has to go through its parts. All right, it says cut into pieces, and that's right. It's going to be cut into pieces. And who's going to do the cutting into pieces? First and foremost, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, but themselves. They're going to cut themselves into pieces by going against each other, as you can see right here. When there's division in the house, in any house, okay? When there is a division amongst a household, there is never any type of peace, okay? You just think of a household today in today's society where divorce rate is more than 60% or more than 50%, okay? In that house, you probably have 2 kids, a husband, and a wife, all right? And more than likely, the wife wants to separate or the husband wants to separate, and they start going butting heads, all right? It's a whole bunch of negativity, and it's hard on the children, okay? There's never any peace in there. Therefore, what? Once the house starts going against each other, they cut each other into pieces, and they separate into parts. Now you have joint custody and things of that nature with the kids. All right, it says to divide into parties, Democrat and Republican. Simple as that. Even going all the way back to Rome, you had, I forgot what they're called, the publicans and something else. Even going back into the scriptures, you had the Sadducees and the Pharisees coming out of, which was a derivative or whatnot to John Hyrcanus when you look it up at the Hasmoneans. Okay? It says to be split into factions. Okay? Split into factions. What do you see this United States government as? It's split in factions. Simple as that. America is the most divided it's ever been today, and it's going to get worse tomorrow and the next day. Okay? It says a thing among people bestow in part. But though right here this is the main thing you want to focus on. All right? So Satan is dividing the spiritual entity. Satan is dividing the Edomites into parties, and he's cutting them into pieces, and he's separating them into parts. Okay? So it says if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, as you can see from the United States government, it is divided. It says he cannot stand. That's right, he can't stand. Now you got the head of state, quote unquote, the commander in chief, quote unquote, all right, President Trump at the head, all right, and the Democratic Party is going against him because they have majority in the House right now, all right. Therefore, he won't be able to stand. That's a crutch that he can't really lean on, okay? He can't really lean on the House. And again, what else? His Mad Dog Maddox, he left. He resigned. So now, what's Trump going to do with that? All right, it says, but have an end. There you go. He can't do anything about it. America is going to come to an end due to their lack of unity, okay? And they can't come together to make one conscious decision. And everybody's against everybody, and everybody has some type of opinion. Okay, so as you can see, the Democratic House is trying to stop this wall from being made in this partial shutdown that's been since December 22nd. Now this is the second shutdown, and it proceeded into the 2019 year. Okay, so that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep this sinking ship afloat, aka America. But it's not going to work because what? Satan is against Satan, And if that's the case, it has to come to an end. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Machakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who were well. Peace, love, salutation to the elect 144 first fruit. This is Brother Kasha Quali from GMS Atlanta Church. Until next time, I'm going to say Shalom.